Hi guys, it's Eric.
And Adam.
And today is a continuation of our house buying journey. And we haven't talked about it in a while, but where we had left off prior was basically we
had the whole internet situation and accepted it.
Yeah, and decided to move on and accept the Binzer and sign in, whatever.
Yep.
Well, after that, what happens is that an appraisal is ordered. Usually when you're just buying a house, it's just on the house that you're purchasing, but in our case, we had two to go through. So one for the buyers that we are selling our current house on, and the buyers us on the new house that we're buying. So there were two appraisals that needed to be ordered. And since we had started the process of buying the home before selling our home, the place that we were buying was first. So we put the appraisal in and we just waited. It was a couple weeks and we hadn't heard anything. We were like, is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? With any case, the appraisal is done by the seller's agent. So that means we had no idea what was going on. It was just a waiting game. So we were like, okay. So that went in, and it was taking so long, and we had talked to our loan officer, and he informed us that apparently in today's time, because it's so crazy that everyone's busy, including all the appraisers, they are just like booked back to back. They have no time for anything.
And they're backed up, like they're taking longer than expected.
Yeah, because there's just so much going on and so much turnover right now. And so they informed us that it could take up to 6 weeks. And mind you,
we had this whole like time crunch.
Yeah, because we were like, oh, well, they're closing on this date, so that means we're purchase date and signing the contract is on this date, which was like a week, or no, at this point it was like 2 weeks until that point. We were like, well, that's not going to work because our old house, and they haven't even started the appraisal on the house that we're selling. So we had to like kick that in gear and get our agent on it and say, when is the appraisal happening on this home that we're selling? Because we heard it's going to take like 6 weeks, and they were like, yeah, it's not going to take that long. We ended up ordering the appraisal for the place that we were selling. We hadn't heard back for the place that we were buying. And the whole thing with appraisals right now is that we were also informed that 65% of the appraisals that came back are not coming back at asking price. In fact, they are coming below asking. So what that means is that if you're dealing with a loan, if it's cash, no worries, you don't even have to do an appraisal most of the time. But with that, basically you have to make up the difference in cash, because the loan is not going to approve you for that offer that you made.
If the appraisal comes in lower than asking, you have to make up the difference in cash.
Correct.
And so for us to get this new dream house with no internet, we needed our appraisal to be high enough and the house that we were buying to be low enough so that we could afford it.
So basically, it was a waiting game, and the first appraisal came back.
For the house that we were buying.
It was for the house that we were buying, correct. And we found out that the difference in appraisal from actual purchase value to the offer that we made was $40,000. 45. It was $45,000 difference.
$45,000 less
than what we had offered. So basically, the loan, they were like, you have to make up for the difference. That was choice number one. Number two, you could make up in the middle somewhere and come up with the seller, seller, or you could have the seller come up to what the appraisal was.
Come down.
Yeah, sorry, it's so confusing. So basically, we were kind of screwed because we didn't know what the appraisal was going to come back for the home that we were selling. Because if we had to make up the difference with the home that we were selling, if it came in lower than what our buyer offered, then we could not do anything. And we would have been homeless.
Yeah.
Because that means we would have lost our current home
And couldn't afford the new one.
Couldn't afford the new one. Because at that point, basically, we had no choice but to move forward. And so we were stressed out. We were freaking out.
I think even more stressed out than the whole internet situation. For like a week or two, or it was for a long period of time, we were just like rolling in stress and anxiety because we were like, we like legitimately could be homeless. Like, if the appraisals don't go our way.
And the thing is that this was the last piece of the puzzle. This was like the final thing we had to do before we signed the paperwork and it was done. Mm-hmm. So everything had been planned. All like electricity and utilities and everything like that. We already had movers set. We had a truck. We had everything in place. And it came down to Friday night when I was like, we have 24 hours to cancel, otherwise we would be eating all the money that we put into this, like the movers and the truck and all of that. And Friday came and we still hadn't heard, so we had to push everything back a week.
Mm-hmm.
And
thankfully though, so the people that were buying our house agreed to a later move-in date.
They didn't have a choice because their appraisal hadn't come back.
Well, also that. So we were able to push our appraisal back a week, which hadn't even happened at this point. We still needed the appraisal to happen, but we got a week extension on our house. And
if you're confused, raise your hand.
Oh my God, I know. Brownie points for anybody that like is actually keeping up. And then for the house that we were buying, so we talked to the seller there, and they agreed that they would push back a week as well. So we were able to get a week extension on both houses. At this point, we had the appraisal for the house that we were buying, but the appraisal hadn't even happened yet, let alone come back or anything like that for the house that we were selling. Yeah.
Are we up to date now? We all understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got the week extension. During that week extension, we finally got the appraisal for our house, someone to come and do it. But then there was all this stress, like, okay, so we got a week extension. We don't want to like get on the seller's bad side and ask for another week extension. So we literally like are relying on this appraisal to come back within days. It needed to be like 2-3 days it comes back, or like
it was a Wednesday when the appraiser came for the place for our old home. And we were like, oh my God, it needs to happen by Friday. And she was like, wow, that's a quick turnaround. And we were like, yeah, you think? She's like, okay, I'll try to get it back on Friday. And clearly it didn't happen. So we ended up getting notification like that Wednesday, I think, Wednesday or Thursday, because we had pushed everything back a week. So that means we were moving on Saturday. So we got the day on Wednesday that our place actually came back and it was at value. So we were like, whew, okay, that's taken care of. Now, what do we do with the new place? Because now we're selling our home. We have no choice. The appraisal came back. It's at where it's at. The buyers have already gone through. It was being sold and we could not turn back. There was no way legally for us to do that. So we were relying on the seller of our new home to come up in price to
come up with the value, but come down from the price that we did with asking price.
Yeah.
So to meet in the middle of the appraisal price and our asking price,
which was like $25,000 difference.
Yeah.
And she did. Oh my gosh. I just got chills because it was such an emotional, crazy time that, I mean, we were living out of boxes. Like, everything was packed.
I mean, hello, you saw was it the house tour?
Yeah, where
everything was like, the closet was empty? Yeah, because everything was in boxes. So, like, And I kind of felt bad for the girls too, because like there was days where I'd be like, is this even worth it? Like the girls are not even able to like play with a bunch of their toys or like even stuff in the pantry. Like we had like everything in boxes. So
yeah.
I'm like, and the girls were actually amazing throughout the whole process. They weren't like throwing fits or anything. So I'm like, okay, well that's good.
They were great. They were like rock stars through the entire process, and they were even helping us pack, and they didn't fuss once. They weren't like, no, don't put that in the box. They were freely helping us. It was just, we're so thankful for that.
They were troopers.
But, so everything came back. We had to go ahead to move. We ended up eating some money because of the transfer of utilities. We had to push back, or they turned it off and then we had to turn it back on. So we had to pay extra money for that. And it was just all this stuff on top of things. So moral of the story, if you're buying or selling a home, do the appraisal now. Like order it now first, because that's going to take the longest and give you the heartache that we had.
All the stress was, well, not all the stress, but majority of the stress was from the freaking appraisals.
Yep.
Taking so long, and then the whole unknown of what they would come back as was like, oh my God.
Oh, I forgot to tell you all. So the issue with the seller, our seller, and the appraisal wasn't that they were like, oh, I don't know what to do, whether to come up and price below or whatever. It was because they fought it. So then we had to go through an entire process of the appraiser going through their stuff again. So they basically were like, no, we're going to fight this. And
yeah, because they thought the appraisal came in too low. And so,
which we all did.
Yeah. The funny thing is though, so the appraisal for the house that we were trying to buy came back, and the seller fought that appraisal, and the new appraisal for the house we were trying to buy came back at the same price. This all happened before our appraisal even happened. Like the person came to appraise our house. So like, that's how long it was taking for our house to get appraised. It was like, we're so ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
it was
ridiculous.
pretty crazy. Yeah. And the appraisal came back and they didn't change it. They were like, no, I stand for what I wrote and that's what it is. And our loan officer even said that. They said pretty much every appraiser is so proud that they pretty much won't ever change. It's very, very rare that they say, oh, yeah, you're right. I will go ahead and change this to the asking price instead. Mm-hmm. And it didn't happen, so we had to move forward and make a decision of how we were going to move forward. And luckily, it worked out, and we were able to make up that difference with the selling of our home because it came in at asking, and we didn't have to worry about that. So that's the story. And we finally moved in that next weekend, and it all ended up working out for the best because we got actually a better deal for our house. So all the stress and everything that we went through ended up working out.
It was awful, but worth it in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got very, very lucky.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the video where we're telling everybody we got our dream home.
Yep.
Okay, well we got our dream home. So.
Woohoo! Yay!
Yay!
Oh my gosh. And it's beautiful and it's gorgeous.
Oh, we love it. We love it.
And it's just like,
and the girls love it so much.
Love it.
Obsessed. Yeah.
And it's just everything you like, the checklist. I think I said this before, that you're like, I want this in my dream home. Like it pretty much has everything. So yeah. We got a dream house. Yay! Only how long did you have to wait and how many videos? So yeah. So that's our dream house extravaganza journey that was stressful and crazy, and hopefully no one will ever have to go through that. We don't want to ever go through that again.
I can't believe we
selling and buying at the same time is
not ideal.
You have to be 100% sure that you want everything to happen that you're putting in place, because it is stressful. So.
And just like do research on like little things like internet, just to make sure that you're prepared for stuff like that.
Yeah, just little things that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah.
But So thank you for watching, following along. That is our story. We don't have one coming up after this because now you know that we got our dream house. Yay!
Yay!
So subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Comment down below if you want to make comments from any video that we had before this about our dream home. Like, now's the time. We'll answer questions, process, whatever.
Yeah.
But we love you all. We'll see you soon.
Hey! I keep getting distracted because the background is so pretty.
Yeah, right?
I'm like,
Every time it fades, it's like this
uh-huh.
like mix of color that's just like, and it's like
Pride Month ended and we said, no!
5 months all year long.
Uh-huh.